Okay, guys, so we're live. So good morning. This is Everett Dossie with Hancock Mortgage Partners. I'm here with Forrest Bramwell and Jackie Bramwell, owners of Third Generation Outfitters and Snow Country Snowmobile Tours in Pagosa Springs, Colorado. Um, just wanted to reach out. We're getting together. We're going to talk about some mental aspects of what's going on, championship mindset, and a little history on these two wonderful people. I appreciate them joining me. Forrest Bramwell, five-time NFR qualifier in the bareback riding. I'm a little biased, but I think probably the most technically sound bareback rider to never win a world championship. Not his fault, but I truly believe the most technical bareback rider I ever saw. So, Forrest, why don't you give us a little background, a little history on yourself, what you've done in your life and where you're at now?
Okay. Well, I grew up in an outfitting and guide business. We guided hunts and did horseback rides and all that good stuff. And, you know, as well as my dad's dream and my granddad's dream that, you know, one of us was going to make a big rodeoing. And so I grew up with that as my history. I took it one step at a time, and it was a little boy's dream. And it went into high school national finals, college national finals. And then, you know, I made it happen and went to pro and went to the finals 5 times. And that's how I made a living for 9 years of my life, and had an amazing life doing that.
Awesome. So we're kind of in an unprecedented time here when it comes to rodeo. You know, the rodeos are shut down everywhere with the quarantines and the shelters in place. Nobody's allowed to have a rodeo. So there's a ton of guys that are sitting out there that are young that have never, how do I put this? Never not been able to go to the rodeo when they wanted to. And I know this isn't something you dealt with in your time in rodeo, but let's talk about the aspects of when you get injured and you can go. What's the mental game on that? How do you get to that champion mindset so when you can go back? Because I know that when you're sitting at home injured, there's questions. Am I going to be as good? Will I get over this? How do you deal with those types of things, and how do you come back stronger than ever?
So probably the hardest year for me, I broke my back in 2004, and it kind of set me back a ways, you know, and then there was a lot of fear that was involved and everything else. Am I going to heal up? Am I going to be physically capable to even walk again? And so it cost me the finals that year. And I watched the finals in 2004 from my couch, and just even little exercises I was doing with my feet and my arms because I couldn't move the rest of my body. But I wanted to come back and be bigger and badder. I was, you know, the comeback kid, you know, the Rocky movies and all of that good stuff. It drove me crazy. I wanted to be there so bad that I couldn't stand it, you know. And, you know, my favorite saying, and I wrote it on a lot of autographs and stuff like that, is the only death you die is death you die every day by not living. And when I sat on the couch, I was like, this is not where I want to be. I want to be out there doing it, and I want to be back in the business, and I want to be bigger and badder than ever. And that was the mindset I put back. And there was never, I guess, a fear that I couldn't come back and be as good as I was. You know, I was healing fast, and I was just going to do everything it took to get back where I was before I broke my back.
Awesome. So do you think that there wasn't a fear because you had the mindset that you were going to come back, that you were going to be better, that you were going to do better, and you didn't allow that fear to creep in? Or I've known you for years. I've known you for almost 25 years. So everybody knows Forrest and I were college roommates. We rodeoed together back in the day. So I know you're a very driven individual, and that you've always had that mindset to go get it done, whether it was work at your parents' place, work at your own place. Do you think that was an aspect that kept the fear out, or do you think you were just so driven to go back that you never thought about it?
Yeah, I mean, throughout my life, you know, everybody's like, oh, didn't your parents worry about you when you're rodeo? And I said, I kind of grew up in a tough childhood. You know, my mother was like, you better get back up when you fell down. And I was always raised with that. You know, there was cold, there was hard conditions and stuff like that. And I wanted to always get out and do that. And you know, when I did have that injury, you know, there wasn't any doubt in my mind. I was like, it's do or die with me, you know, and that may be a bit extreme, but, you know, I knew what I had to deal with. But I wasn't living unless I was doing what I wanted to do, and I was going to do everything to get there, no matter what it took, no matter the consequences. Maybe I'll regret that now or later on in life, the way I've tortured my body, but I've had an amazing life and I have no regrets. I took the chance to stick it out there and go, well, if this doesn't work out, it's a school of hard knocks, but at least there's nothing in my mind that says, well, I didn't give it a try and I didn't give it 110% of what I could do.
Yeah. And so, I mean, you may regret it later in life. So this was something that was asked to me a while back by my chiropractor that I see probably more than most people in their early 40s. But it was asked to me if I could do it again, would I do it all over? What's your answer to that?
Oh, I say that every day. In fact, yesterday we went to the bank, like most people are, with all that's going on right now, and just seeing what our financial situation was and everything. And the woman at the front desk, she said, are you rodeo anymore? I said, no, I'm 43 years old and I'm an old man now. My rodeo days are over. And she's like, do you miss it? And I said, absolutely, I miss it. I miss it every day. There's no way that I would have changed anything. I've got the titanium parts to prove it, but there's no way I'd change my life. If I died tomorrow, I'd be a happy man ever, for sure.
Yeah, in my answer to my chiropractor was twice as hard. I would do it again twice as hard. That's one of the things I want to put out. So my career in rodeo ended early with a terrible shoulder injury and other injuries that came from that. And that's one of my regrets, that I wasn't able to come back. That was one of the dreams I wasn't able to continue. But I wouldn't be where I'm at now if I'd continued to rodeo. I've got a wonderful wife and 3 beautiful kids. And I have told her over and over, if you met me when I was rodeoing, we would have never been together. You'd have never gone on a date with me. But I would have definitely gone back and done it over. Twice as hard.
Yeah.
So now after rodeo, I mean, you got lucky. We know that. You caught Jackie at a vulnerable moment and were able to convince her to marry you. By the way, you way outpunted your coverage on that one. Everybody questions it, but so after rodeo, you met Jackie, you guys got married. What did you guys do after that? What did you do after rodeo was over?
Well, so after rodeo was over, like everything, your life changes. And I knew that from the day I started rodeoing, that my body wasn't going to last forever. After my career, people have told me my whole life, you can't do this, you can't do this. I made it happen. I made a living. I bought my house, bought my land through rodeo. One day the doctor said, you're done rodeoing. You're going to have a hip replacement. And I was like, no, that's not how this works, And that was probably the hardest time of my life ever. I'll try not to get emotional in front of everybody because I usually do. But Jackie came to me at the right point in my life when I really needed somebody. I'd almost given up on women. I was like, I'm just going to be a single broken down rodeo guy. And, I didn't know where my future was going to lead after that. And there was a lull in my life where I was like, I don't want to live this way, and I kept jumping back, thank goodness Jackie was there for me. She jumped in. We won't talk the age difference. There's a little age difference here, but, she's full of life, full of energy. She wanted to go out and do the things that I wanted to do. And we built a business together. And so we bought, my dad's outfitting business, and we ran that. She went one way with the pack string. I went the other way with pack string, and we started that. And then we got into this snowmobile business, and this has been a blessing for sure, both of us. It's a lot of hard work, a lot of stress, but we're our own bosses, and I was at a point where I wanted to give up. I kind of remembered that when I signed kids' autographs, I need to remember what I put on their autographs. Dream big and dare to fail. And it was that point in my life again where my life had to take a 180-degree turn, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to start all over again. And I think that helped me get through that, because that was a bad time, and my wife, I'm so thankful for her. I love her, and it helped me get through a lot of hard times there, for sure.
Absolutely. So Jackie, now you come from a horse showing background, very, very big into equestrian and stuff like that. And, you decided to, I don't know, lower your standards and hang out with Forrest Bramwell. And I can pick on him because I've known him for 25 years. But give us a little background on yourself, on horse showing and some of the other things you've done.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I grew up in kind of the horse world too. That's definitely where my heart's at. I did grow up doing 4-H, and I did do the horse showing and stuff. Nothing super big time. I rode English Western. Was always going kind of for a high point buckle. So I started working for Forrest parents as a wrangler. My sister and I did, and we were given horseback rides for them. And so that's how we met. And so it was, kind of through the horse world, how Forrest and I met. And then we just kind of hit it off from there. I went to Scottsdale Community College in Scottsdale, Arizona, and I got my degree in equine science down there. Came back and worked kind of part-time as a vet tech as well for equine vets here in town. And like I said, that's definitely where my heart's at. I absolutely love it. I convinced Forrest to teach me how to rope. And I think that maybe was a bad idea because now I'm totally hooked. So now we've kind of been team roping just for fun around here in the summers and stuff together. So that's been a blast for sure.
Awesome. So now you guys have another unique hobby, and I don't know if you're still doing it, but tell me about dog sled racing.
Yeah, definitely. So we, Forrest gave the dog sled tours growing up with his family here on the ranch. And so he's got a lot of, kind of backgrounds in the dog sledding stuff. And then we ended up, Pagosa put on a small dog sled race here in town. And he talked to one of the main mushers that he had raced against when they were kids. And they go, wow, I know you. It's just been, 25 years. And so he kind of got us back into that about 6 years ago now. And we raced our dogs for a long time. Unfortunately, we did sell our kennel last winter just due to being so incredibly busy with the snowmobile tours. The dogs just weren't getting the time that they deserved because they were so good. So our dogs are doing really well. We see them all the time through pictures and videos and things like that. They're taking tours out with people up in Aspen right now, but we did unfortunately not, we didn't have the time to put into it.
But the competitive attitude never ends.
No.
I'm trying to fill that competitive void that's in my life right now, because as you and I both know, Everett, I get a little bit grumpy when I don't do something silly that involves adrenaline. Yeah. And so the dogs gave me an opportunity to compete. I did love my dogs. We raced, we went to the world finals. We did really good and we were competitive, but it was just, like Jackie said, because our business took over, we were spreading ourselves too thin and we weren't giving the dogs. So, it wasn't a selfish decision. We wanted them to have a good life. And just like you or I, when you're an athlete, you need to act like an athlete, and that's every day. They needed to go out and work. They need to be loved by people, and they needed exercised. And I didn't feel like we were doing that. But we're definitely competitive people. We would race against each other, and you wouldn't know that we were man and wife and husband and wife when we were out on the race course by any means. It wasn't until the day after that we'd give each other a hug.
Definitely a very competitive couple.
Yeah, so on the competitive, let me explain competitive. So now, Forrest, you've had a hip replacement.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I've had multiple knee surgeries, and it seems like every time we're around each other, we have to have a foot race to see who's faster.
I can still out hobble you like you wouldn't believe.
I'm not so positive. I'm down 30 pounds from the last time you seen me. I'm getting faster in my old age. I'm definitely not running a marathon, but if we're talking 100 yards, I'm in.
Yeah. We're talking sprints here.
Yeah. So the competitive nature never ends. I mean, it's something that we're always looking for. I got out of rodeo and I lost that competitive nature. And then, as you know, I went and took an MMA fight just because I wanted to compete. And I figured what better way to compete than to get punched in the face, which is, works for me because my head's hard enough for that. But we're all finding that drive and that competitive. And something that you and I have talked about when it comes to rodeo and stuff is I don't think the younger rodeo guys realize when you're at the top of the game, everybody wants to talk to you. Everybody wants to be around you. As soon as you're done, what is that like? Because I know that attention and stuff goes away, but it's something you have to deal with.
That is definitely for any athlete. And I've talked to a lot of athletes. Now that I'm finally in my 40s, it's slowly going away. It doesn't mean as much to me, but when you put your heart and soul into something like that, and then all of a sudden, and I remember one of my heroes, Bruce Ford, said it to me. He said, one day you're going to be a world champion, and the next day you're going to be a world chump. And he said, people are going to forget about you. They're not going to remember what you accomplished. And I'm not a cocky person. I don't throw that out very much. My wife, she's like, well, you have so much good to say and you've had such an amazing life. Why don't you just tell people what you've done? And I said, they just wouldn't understand anyway, and I balled that up inside, and I'm dealing with that a lot better now, but it's rough there for a while, and you just, like I told her, she's my best friend and she's the only one that's going to matter anyway in the future. And so, it's okay now, but that's a rough time in any athlete's life, is to make that transition to being average again. We were living a dream life for sure.
Yeah, well, and I wouldn't say that you went to be an average. Average looking, yes, but that's always been your issue. But going to average, I think that we're just not in the forefront anymore. One of the things you and I talked about is we went from somebody to being a nobody in the rodeo world or in athletics. And it's not that the accomplishments weren't there and that they don't matter anymore. They're just not as recognizable to the general fans and the people that were wanting autographs and wanting stuff like that. I want to commend you guys. You guys have helped out with rodeo schools for us when we've done rodeo schools. And I know you helped out with PRCA champion camps, giving back to the kids. So let's get to the good stuff. So tell me about snow country snowmobile tours, because I know that snowmobiling is one of your guys' passions. It's something you guys were doing recreationally before you started the business, but tell us about it and what it is you guys do. Okay.
So we started real small with this business when Jackie and I first got together. We've done it 9 years now. It's our 9th year. Started out, I didn't have the tractors and the four-wheelers and the snowmobiles growing up. And that's always been my passion, really. Here I am, a cowboy, and we had horses and we caught horses, feed horses. But anyway, I've always thought about this, even during my rodeo career. What am I going to do afterwards? And it was something that I was interested in. And I'm a bit of a gearhead. When we went to school, Everett, that's what I was on a rodeo scholarship, was to do automotive, to be a mechanic. And so I had pretty much taught myself how to work on these things. But Jackie and I, we started this small business. Went around, we bought about 10 machines. Her and I ran it. She did the books. I started the snowmobiles. I went from garage to garage, just picking up pretty much these old beaters. They were still clean, but I had to rebuild the carburetors, clean them up. So anyway, we started that way. We started on a private ranch, and I made a trade with this guy that we would fix all of his fences for him in the summertime, because it was a cattle ranch, for the opportunity to run the snowmobiles on it. And so we started out that way, and we slowly grew. And long story short, it's been school hard knocks for sure, but we're up to 40 snowmobiles now. I have 5 guys hired. We run in 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour scenic tours. And then we also do advanced lessons. We have an advanced fleet that people have ridden snowmobiles. We teach them how to boondock and ride in the trees and all of that good stuff. So it's been a blessing. I mean, it's a wonderful business, and we're doing really good, and we're our own bosses right now. That's been good for sure.
So when you do what you love, you never really work, right? Is that what we're saying?
Well, there's a little bit of work involved, but we do love it for sure.
So now you guys have grown this to 40 sleds now. You guys are up by Wolf Creek Ski Resort. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. That is one of our main locations. We also run some beautiful spots, one north of Pagosa Springs, and then there's one sort of southeast of Pagosa Springs. all up there in the high country, looking at the white peaks in the backgrounds. It's such a fun way to get into the backcountry, especially for these people who may not want to throw on snowshoes to try to get back up in there. A snowmobile is just such a cool way to get outside in the winter and enjoy the scenery and the fresh air. And so it's incredible to see how people start out maybe just a little bit nervous, maybe thinking this may not be our deal. We don't really like the cold, things like that. And then to get them out there, I mean, their minds are just blown how cool it is just to be up in the high country in the winter, sort of a thing, without, again, having to strap skis on or snowshoes or something along those lines.
Yeah, no, that's amazing, because you guys know me well. I'm not putting snowshoes on. It's not happening. I'm not hiking. One of the issues me and my wife have is she loves to hike and look at trees and rocks. And I could care less about looking at trees and rocks. Give me a bow, give me a rifle, and tell me we get to hunt, and I'll hike all day long.
Yes.
I'll regret it the next day, but I will hike. But getting out there on the snowmobile, and what's really cool about what you guys do is this is a family type gathering. You guys treat your customers like family. And you're talking about generations of families, whether it's aunts and uncles and grandfathers with parents and grandchildren together, being able to go out on these tours and see the countryside. As I tell my kids, and I'm stealing from Duck Dynasty, we're bringing the yuppies to the country.
Yeah.
But tell me some of the things. Do you guys have an age restriction? Do you guys have, are you able to take care of those very, very beginners? What is it you guys are set up? Because I know every company's got to have some type of guidelines to protect them. So give me some background on that, on who can go on these.
Yeah, definitely. So we are set up 100% for beginners. We're probably about 90% beginners. So that's not an issue at all. That's why everything we do is guided. So literally from the minute you show up at our trailers, before we put you on the snowmobiles, we're going to take you from square one. We're going to tell you exactly how to drive them, exactly what we need you to do. All of that good stuff. So we're just kind of there for, again, the nervous people and maybe the people who think they're going to be awesome at it. And that's fine too. We're there to kind of talk you through it all from the beginning. So that's not an issue at all. And then again, if you're a little bit more experienced, like Forrest said earlier, we have now kind of expanded into doing an advanced backcountry lessons. We've been doing that for the last 4 years. So maybe you come out and do a scenic tour and maybe you're looking for a little bit more. Well, great. Maybe book the next day with us and we can put you on a backcountry high performance machine that's actually made for the powder. And we just teach all kinds of cool techniques on how to, start doing the side hilling and the boondocking and things like that. So that's really growing into kind of its own thing, which is really fun as well to kind of be able to offer the tours for all the different levels. Age restrictions are 16 years to drive. That's the manufacturer sticker on the snowmobiles. So drivers do have to be 16. We have an age minimum of 4 years old, just because we need all the little kiddos to be able to ride behind their drivers for safety. But otherwise, you've got from 4 up to 80. It's a huge, age range, which is pretty fun. So you can bring out the whole family for sure.
Awesome. So we're going to finish up here, but I do have a question because every rodeo cowboy has it. And Forrest, I want to know 2 things. What's the best fucking horse you ever got on? And what's the worst?
So it goes back to when I broke my back that year. The horse that broke my back, I drew him a year later, about the same time. And it's probably been the most scared I was ever to get on a bucking horse because he put me out of my rodeo life that year. And, possibly could have paralyzed me for the rest of my life. So anyway, this goes being said, going into this, I'm just a mess. And I set an arena record that day and I was 91 points. And it was R.D. Mercer that did that to me. And, the crowd just went wild and it was this huge block that was in front of me that I overcame that day. So it was probably the best feeling that I've had for a long time during my rodeo career. The worst bucking horse that I ever got on. Man, that's a good question. I can't even say, the ones that were probably didn't really want to be bucking horses that pretty much ran off was my least favorite. The ones that wasn't their job. They didn't want to do it. That was the ones that I didn't want to get on, something that wanted to just take my arm out of socket and throw me on my head. That was a good bucking horse. And I wanted to get on them. That was my attitude. They liked their job and you could tell it, so.
Best against the best. Well, hey guys,
Yes.
I really appreciate you guys taking time out of your day and joining us. So I've tagged Third Generation and Snow Country Snowmobile Tours on this video, but give me a website, give me some stuff like that, because if people haven't been to Pagosa Springs, Colorado, you're missing out, number one. Doesn't matter what time of year, whether it's ski season or whether it's summertime, you're missing out. You can reach out to me and I'll tell you the best places to go eat, all those types of things. It's kind of a second home to me and my family to go spend time with Forrest and Jackie and some other friends in the area. But give us some contact information so people can reach out. I know you guys are done for this year, but you're booking for next season. So let's let everybody know how to get a hold of you.
Yeah, definitely. So our website is going to be snowcountrysnowmobiletours.com. And then there's online booking options on there. We actually will not start our reservations for next year until November 1st, 2020. So that's when you can expect to kind of get in for the next season. So check out the website. You can book online, and then our phone number is on there as well, 970-219-7523. You can always give us a shout anytime during the summer. We're happy to answer any questions or anything that you have. But again, the reservations for next season will start as of November 1st. So we're already looking forward to it.
Awesome, guys. Well, hey, again, I really appreciate you guys joining us. It's always been a pleasure. We've been friends for a long time, but I love the positive attitude and the champion mindset that both of you display, and that you're willing to come on with me and kind of get this out during these times, these unprecedented times. So thank you again. And as you always know, if you need something, give me a call. Everybody watching the video can reach me at 505-385-1841. And I'm truly the guy that doesn't care. If you're stuck at home and you need somebody to talk to, call me. I love to talk. I'm always here. If you need some help on something, let me know and we'll get it taken care of for you. So again, guys, I appreciate it, and we'll talk to you later.
Thanks,
Thank
Everett.
you, Everett. Have a good one.
You too.